All right, let's talk about a real powerhouse in the world of data, SAS. For decades, it's been the secret weapon for major industries. You know, the ones analyzing massive amounts of data to find critical patterns and make some really big decisions. So let's break down how it all works. But before we dive into the nuts and bolts of it all, I want you to think about this for a second. What if you could actually talk to your data using just plain English? I mean, really? That's the exact problem SAS was built to solve. And that's what makes it so incredibly powerful and, honestly, pretty easy to get into. Okay, so let's kick things off with the language itself. The real beauty of SAS, I think, is its syntax. It was designed from the ground up to be super readable and intuitive. The whole point is so that you can focus on the questions you're asking your data, not on trying to memorize a bunch of complex, weird code.
Just look at this comparison. On the left, you've got that dense, symbol-heavy code you see in a lot of programming languages, right? It can be a real headache. But then, on the right, that's the SAS approach. It's clean, it's direct, it's sequential. It literally reads like a set of instructions. And that's because it was built for one job and one job only, data analysis.
This whole philosophy really just boils down to a few simple rules. First off, the statements are meant to be read like plain English. Super straightforward. Second, every single command ends with a semicolon. That's pretty much the main piece of punctuation you gotta remember. And little things like spacing or whether you use uppercase or lowercase, SAS doesn't really care, it's flexible. And that frees you up to think about the logic, what you're actually trying to do, instead of getting bogged down by picky syntax rules. So, we get the philosophy, right? Simple, readable. But how does a SAS program actually work? Well, it all comes down to two fundamental building blocks. You're gonna see these in pretty much every single script you ever look at. First up, you've got the data step. The best way to think about this is like it's your workshop. This is where you bring in all your data, you clean it up, maybe you create some new variables. Basically, you're getting all your raw materials prepped and ready for the real analysis. And then, once your data is all prepped and ready to go, you move on to the proc step. Proc is just short for procedure. This is where the magic happens. It's where you actually do stuff with your data. You run your analyses, you generate reports, you create awesome charts, and you uncover those super important insights. See? It's this simple but really powerful division of labor. The data steps are for building and preparing, while the proc steps are for analyzing and reporting. It's like you gather and organize all your ingredients in the data step, and then you cook the final dish in the proc step. Honestly, almost every SAS program you'll ever write is just some combination of these two steps.
Okay, that's all great, but what happens when your data isn't in one nice, neat file? I mean, let's be real, most of the time it's scattered all over the place, right? In different sources. And that's where knowing how to stack, merge, and sort your data becomes an absolutely essential skill.
Stacking is probably the simplest way to combine data. Let's say you have two data sets that have the exact same columns. Stacking it stacks one right on top of the other, giving you more rows. Seriously, just think of it like stacking pancakes. You just end up with a taller stack. Simple as that. Merging, on the other hand, is a little different. It combines data sets horizontally, adding more columns. So if one data set has, say, a person's name and age, and another one has their name and height, merging brings them together to give you name, age, and height, all in one row. The trick, and this is important, is that you need a common variable, like the name column, to link them. It's just like finding the matching edges on two puzzle pieces before you can snap them together. And that brings us to the absolute golden rule of merging in SAS. You have to hear this. Before you can fit those puzzle pieces together, you must sort both of your data sets by that common variable. It's not optional. This is how SAS knows exactly which rows belong together. All right, so we've prepared our data, we've combined it, and now we get to the best part. The whole reason we're doing this. We get to turn all that raw information into a clear, compelling story. Take a look at this. This is some sample student data. It's clean, it's organized, but as a table, it's really just a sea of numbers and letters, isn't it? Trying to spot any kind of trend or get an insight by just staring at this? Yeah, good luck. It's pretty much impossible. But with one simple proc step, boom, we get this bar chart. All of a sudden, instantly, a little piece of the story starts to emerge. We can see right away there are 9 females and 10 males in our data. This is that aha moment that data analysis is all about. And you know what? Creating that chart wasn't some ridiculously complex, time-consuming process. Nope. It was done with a simple procedure called proc chart. SAS is just packed with these kinds of procedures, all designed to quickly summarize, print, and visualize your data with just a few lines of that plain English code we talked about. Okay, time for a pro tip. What if you needed to create separate reports for males and for females, or maybe for every single age group in your data? Sure, you could copy and paste your code over and over and over, or you could automate the whole thing with something called a macro. And the key is this one little line of code you see right here. That little ampersand followed by the word sex, that creates what's called a macro variable. Think of it like a blank space in your code, a placeholder that you can fill in whenever you want. So you can tell SAS, hey, run this report, but fill in that blank with an F for female. And then right after, say, now do it again, but this time fill the blank with an M for male. It completely transforms a single script into this powerful, reusable engine that can generate hundreds of reports. The amount of time this saves is just incredible. So when you look at the whole picture, from its simple, plain English syntax and its two-step structure, all the way to its seriously powerful tools for automation, SAS is designed to do one thing, and do it exceptionally well: help you uncover the story that's hidden inside the numbers. So the only question left is, what story is waiting to be found in your data?